It said that they had 17,000 caricatures were made, so that's one measurement. One of the things they would also need to, if you were reporting back, if you were behind that campaign or you were involved in that campaign, you would need to report back to your stakeholders about how well it worked to be able to give you the space to kind of do something like that in the future. So being able to collate the responses and to find out, okay, how did this actually translate to more brand awareness or more ultimately more sales in KFC. So they would be using tools to see what people said alongside sharing those little icons, whether they registered with the website, whether they signed up to an email marketing list, and those sorts of things. By connecting up your website database or email marketing database with like a loyalty card program as well that a lot of businesses will do, then you can really follow their journey and see exactly what they have spent their money on. And then you can really find out if the work that you've done has provided that return on investment. So one of the ways that you can also measure, well, this is about listening, but you would listen and then see. You can also measure what you find out through this. So anyway, they all work together. Sentiment analysis. This is where you analyse what people's sentiments are. So you analyse the way people are talking about your brand on social media, on the internet in general. Or you might want to use it to find out how they feel about a certain topic in the news, or something that might be a pain point that you feel that your product solves. So using sentiment analysis, you can gather them, you can see how people feel about things basically. And that's going to really help you understand your customers. So this might be in just general sort of sharing content, but it is also in customer service. So a lot of brands use social media for their customer service because it's where their customers are, rather than making them go to their website, send an email, or ring the company. So it makes sense that using social media for customer service. But the thing with providing customer service on social media is that it's public, and you can't really get around that. So a lot of the time, businesses will try and send any complaints to their DMs, but ultimately, people want to see what resolution the company are providing. So it's really important that companies resolve problems well. So sentiment analysis is about managing complaints and seeing and providing customer satisfaction. There are tools, and you're going to be using some tools for sentiment analysis in your seminars, which is quite a fun task to do. And AI can also do it as well now. So there are lots of AI tools being developed where you would just say, tell me the sentiment of every, of all the tweets that use a certain word or a certain hashtag. So here, these are a couple of examples of brands, the sorts of things, the sort of responses that brands are doing online to comments about their brands. So this is it's just a box company. It really doesn't matter what the company is, but this woman, she's tagged the company in it to say, "Hey mom, thanks for ordering this excellent Zappos boxes, signed a happy cat." Everyone loves a picture of a cat in a box. The company doesn't need to respond to that. It's not a complaint. It's not actually about the proper use of their product. But by replying to it in the way that they have, they've amplified this message. They're getting a picture of a cute cat in a box out to people. So they're using a positive message about the company and amplifying it to their followers. So they've just said, we live to serve. Just nice and friendly, it's not saying we don't recommend posting cats or anything like that. It's just a very quick and easy way to get a very cute picture that has their branding in very large in the picture. So when you're active on social media and you're monitoring what people are saying about your company, that's the sort of thing that you can do, which is great. So basically, effectively, it's free advertising. So this is a specific complaint that somebody has tweeted publicly to Nordstrom. So they've said, hey, for your website, folks, it'd be really nice if when searching for a hoodie, that products with a hood come up, not a bunch of other stuff. The defining feature of a hoodie is that it has a hood. Thanks. It's actually a very polite way to complain about a website not working as well as the customer feels it should. I find that very frustrating. If you're on a shopping website and you search for something, you only want to see those things as a result. So it can be frustrating. So Nordstrom, they reply publicly, because if they don't, it just means that other people are left with the impression, that their website is rubbish. So if anyone else sees that, they're just like, the website's rubbish. But by responding publicly to just saying, we're so sorry to hear this, which means this sounds like they're taking it seriously, please know that your feedback was shared with our teams, as we're always looking for ways to help make improvements where needed. If you have questions or need help with anything, feel free to let us know via DM, though. They are trying to get it to go to DM. So using those public platforms to actually publicly respond in a way that makes the customer feel like their concerns are taken seriously is very, very good for developing that customer loyalty, and also for people to see publicly that they care about their customers. This is just an example of what you might see when you're using your sentiment analysis tool. So, when you are using social media for customer service, what you really need to do when you're listening is to have a process in place. So you need to consistently and accurately identify, classify and report on complaint risk for every interaction. So you need to know what's the kind of risk of of something turning into a complaint is. You can sort of feel when something is when an interaction is happening and it's not going well, like this could easily turn into a complaint. It's very important that with customer service you are monitoring it, you are reporting back on it, so you're keeping that in a sort of database of complaints. You need to remediate, and you can use tools to automate workflows for remediation by complaint type and track resolution. So if someone complains, whether it's on social media or otherwise, they're probably not the only persons who have ever complained about that thing, unless you've resolved it. So it makes sense to have a sort of automated response that you can choose from that's going to help resolve that complaint. And then what you really want to do is prevent any future complaints. Because like for example with that Nordstrom website problem, if someone complains about it and Nordstrom says, okay, we take this seriously, we're passing it on to our teams, but then 6 months later it still doesn't do the right thing and someone else complains about it, it's going to be seen publicly that they haven't actually fixed the problem, which can make things worse. So these are sort of the stages when you get customers complaining to you, then this is what you need to do. You need to follow that process. And the other thing is that people expect brands to have 24/7 service. So people expect these things, the remediation, to happen very quickly. Because on social media you're available all the time, and that's what customers expect. So I've got a couple of examples here. These are actually from today, I think. These are just a couple from today on Twitter. So just on that 24/7 point, this is a tweet Got YSL foundation from Westfield UK after being colour matched. Your staff handed me a different colour. I only realised once home, 5 hours away, have contacted customer service numerous times who don't read my message and say to return to store, which I can't do in person. And their response is, we're sorry to hear about this. You are contacting Sephora US. We recommend sending an email to care@sephora.co.uk or contacting their chat once more during their available hours. Thank you. What do you think of that response? Do you think that's good? Can we get a thumbs up if you think it's good, or a thumbs down if you think it's bad? Come on, let's get some interaction in the room. Oh, you think it's average? Okay, we can have some of that. Come on, thumbs up, thumbs down, or meh? Meh? Any other thoughts? Interesting. Okay. So I think this is bad. And the reason I think it's bad is what they could have said is, we're so sorry to hear this. We've passed it on to our UK team and for a resolution. But what they're doing is handing it all back to the customer. She's already frustrated. She's already been rebuffed by customer service. And then she's being rebuffed again publicly by Sephora. It's not for, they're just Sephora. It doesn't say Sephora US, does it? It could be Sephora in Vietnam, it could be Sephora in the UK. Ultimately, they are one brand, and they should be treating their customers as one group of customers effectively. So yes, I don't think that was a very good interaction. I think that was definitely a thumbs down interaction. So remembering that every interaction that you do like this is public, and she could easily retweet that and say, this is ridiculous, why are they making me do more work? Just take my complaint seriously. This one, so this person originally tweeted on the 21st of April, which to be fair is 2 days ago, so it's not that long ago. Seriously disappointed with the lack of premium service from a supposedly premium brand. Been waiting for a refund from one of my orders, and all customer service agencies, even supervisors, give false blah blah blah. And then they retweeted that again today and said, still waiting for a refund on my order and getting nowhere with customer service. Can someone please help me out? Hashtag premium prices but not service. So they only waited 2 days before doubling down on their complaint because they expect a resolution right away. And Sephora, what they've said is, can you please DM us with your order number so we can take a look. There's no apology, there's nothing like that, but now they're responding, now they're going to help. But that just kind of shows how quickly people expect brands to resolve their problems. If you have resorted to publicly complaining about something on Twitter, or X rather, then you're already unhappy. So what you want is a quick resolution. So this is something that brands really need to be aware of, that you really need to put in the money, the time, the resources to make sure that you're responding to customers on social media. Sometimes that falls onto digital marketers, sometimes it falls onto a separate customer service department. Yes, it depends. So some research shows that 64% of us will choose, switch, avoid, or boycott a brand based on its stand on societal issues. So if a brand doesn't align with our own view of what's happening in the world, then 64 of us might decide to boycott or switch brand because of that. So it's very important that you, as digital marketeers in your business, are keeping on top of what's important to your users. But what's important to one brand's customers won't necessarily be important to another brand's customers, and not everything is black and white. There are lots of boycotts over Israel and Gaza, but in both directions at the moment with customers and brands. There's no simple answer, and sometimes brands can be too quick to jump on the bandwagon and put out a response, and that can backfire. So it's very important that you are really listening to your customers to understand what they want, and then decide strategically whether it's something that you need to comment on or not. And probably most of the time, with controversial issues, it's probably best just not to. But there are other ways that you can post something that will show whether you align with customers' values or not. This is a post about it's a UK company called Brewdog. It makes beer, and they just tweeted, or the founder of Brewdog tweeted that they're thrilled to be carbon negative, honoured to be working with and they're creating a forest, basically. So they're creating forests. So a post like that, it's not controversial at all. It's not criticising anyone for not being carbon negative. But what it is doing is saying, hey, this is a good thing that we're doing, that we believe in. And they know that their customers care about that. They've done research, they've seen that their customers want to see that they're a sustainable brand. So that's why they have posted that. There's a lot of things that companies do wrong, but that was a good thing. This is I'm not going to play this video just because you kind of need the sound, and the sound wasn't really working. So, it's gone. It's what? It's gone. It's gone? What's gone? Oh, it's not on the PDF? Oh, well, I will update. I thought it was, but I must have added it afterwards. Yeah, it's on some of them. It's on one of them and not on the other. So it's been updated on my Beckett, but not on Drive or the other way around. You can watch it in your own time. I will add it to I will make sure it's on all the PDFs. This is a video. So Heineken worked with I think it was a government department in Vietnam to get this message across to say, don't drink and drive. So they worked with the authorities in Vietnam basically to say, right, we want to put out a societal message. Not all of that is, it's not, the video isn't actively saying buy Heineken, buy Heineken, buy Heineken, but by associating themselves with a positive message that's important to people. They got lots and lots of interaction. They got there was 1.8 million views, 10,000 reactions, but it also got shared on different platforms and more widely. That was in 2019. And in the end, it's a positive. It gets people talking about the brand. It gets authorities actually sharing content by a beer manufacturer, which is unusual. But working together to try and make positive change. So that's something that brands can think about doing as well, is kind of finding other ways to get their name out there and building their reputation. So what we've seen that one of the important things about social media is reputation, and that is what this would be an example of. Okay, well it's going to play. But you won't be able to hear it, so there's no point. We'll play it out there after the video if it makes sense. Does anyone remember this? It was a few years ago, so you probably already know. So was it 2.5 minutes long? This, I haven't got the whole 2.5 minutes on it, but it's 2.5 minutes long, which is quite long for a social media video. So it's a lot of work went into it. Okay, so this is just an example of, so again, when a brand has to decide whether it's going to acknowledge something that's happening, but also trying to support external messaging. So this is McDonald's in Brazil. They separated their golden arches as a symbol of social distancing. And they did it physically. They did it physically, but really it was to get some nice content for their social media. But so they're posting. They put a lot of money. It would have cost quite a fair bit of money to do this and to do the campaign around it. And what someone has tweeted, so they've retweeted it, and they said, how about paying your workers a living wage? And complaining about it. So just because you posted something that you think your audience cares about, and to try and promote it as a message, you also need to be aware of how people are responding to it. And then you need to decide as a brand, do we respond to that or not? You need to decide what the best recourse is. And they probably wouldn't respond to that, to be honest, because there isn't really a very good way that they can respond to it. So I picked this, one of the brands that someone said that they like in this little survey yesterday was Oreo. So I had a look at what they've been posting on their social media. And this was posted the same day as Taylor Swift dropped her new album on the 19th of April, so is that Friday? I don't know, I was on a plane on Friday. I was on many planes on Friday. We won't have all the audio.